What is going on, you guys? Bashtian here, and I finally have proof I don't suck at this game, which is very reassuring for myself. I've said this a few times in my videos. I never claimed to be good at this game, but it's finally I have proof. I'll put a picture up here somewhere. But it's I actually got second place at my locals playing this deck, the Runick Sprights. I changed it up a little bit from the last deck profile I uploaded, I believe, last week, 2 weeks ago perhaps. I know it's been a little bit spotty with the videos, guys. Sorry about that. It's just been crazy at work recently, but enough of the excuses, guys. I want to go ahead and show this to you. Honestly, I still very firmly believe that the Runick Spright is probably going to be the best deck moving forward. I just think that the overall consistency and the ability to just consistently just draw 3 during your opponent's turn and back it up with hand traps. I do play hand traps in this version, by the way. It's just absolutely insane, and I don't at this point, unless something changes my mind in the future, which it happens every now and then, but I tend to stick as close to my beliefs as possible. I hope Runick Spright is just going to be the best version of the Spright deck moving forward. I can't think of any better way to go ahead and play this. Again, being able to play the hand traps and being able to draw 3 on your opponent's turn to draw into more hand traps to continue to interrupt your opponent, even if you don't have a crazy board, is just insane. So you have essentially 5 interruptions in your hand, where the runic spells and also hand traps you're going to be drawing, plus of course whatever interruptions you have on your board. So it's absolutely crazy. But if you guys like this deck, these type of deck profiles, let me know by hitting the like button, subscribe for more, and let's get right into the video, guys. Also, a real quick shout out to Heroes Hideouts. We actually got the second place at, so this actually the first mat from there's actually one of the newer locals here in San Antonio, so it's really cool that they were doing this. I actually had no idea that they were even doing a mat tournament that day that I went. So I remember seeing it when I first walked in. I told Josh, the owner, I'm like, this is really cool mat. I forgot what he said, but then when I ended up getting second place, he called me up for it. I'm like, I got starstruck a little bit, because this is really beautiful mat. I mean the material feels really nice. It feels like a double what's called double matted rubber mat. But this is really cool. Actually super clean cut. The Heroes Hideout logo as well. So it's really cool. If you guys are in San Antonio or just in the vicinity, definitely go ahead and check these guys out. They're really cool people. Just awesome vibes all around. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile, guys. Start off with the monsters. Alright, guys, so for the monster lineup, we started off with the pretty standard 3 blue, 3 jets, 1 red, 1 carrot. So as far as this goes, I did take out the Spright Pixies. I'm considering putting it back in, but there's nothing that I would take out of this deck at the moment. I think it's very consistent as it is. Maybe I play as a 40 first card in deck, because it's a 40 card build, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, essentially, I just like the ratios I have right now. The big benefit to having the runic version of this deck is that all runic cards are immediately counted as level 2 monsters as well, just because you are able to summon out the level 2 fusion runic. By playing just these amount of sprites, you have 3, 6, 7, 8, and 11. 11 ways to go ahead and get to a sprite monster with the starters. So I think that's enough. 12 does sound nice. If I'm able to add Spright Pixies, I might go ahead and do it just for the 41st card, but for the overall deck profile, this is what I decided to run. Next engine we're running in the deck, of course, going to be the Swap, the Frog package. Of course, again, no Dupe Frog, not really necessary. It just adds an extra brick to the deck, essentially. And if I'm going to be playing runic cards, yeah, it's nice to have another level 2. But if I'm going to have a level 2, I want to be able to actually do something with it. I don't want it to just be a brick, because even if you go special summon the Runic Fusion 2, search your field spell, and then summon out the Rodent Totem. I mean, even if you go ahead and make Gigantic Spright, detach the Rodent Totem for the effect, then that means Rodent Totem's in the graveyard, which already gets you halfway to your Frog engine. So, which means Swap Frog only needs to summon once after that. So I just wanted to have as much consistency pieces as possible, and as much I don't want to say flexibility, but I just want to have as much high impact as possible. Dupe Frog is not really the highest impact. It's kind of mediocre at this point. Yes, I do understand it helps out a little bit, but you know, they're just better cards to go ahead and play, and I want to have as high impact cards as possible. But going into that, we do play a lot of hand traps in this build. So I went back to, of course, the heavy hand trap, which is going to be 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 3 DD Crow, 3 Veiler, and then triple Imperm. So this is quite the heavy hand trap lineup, but it's not out of the ordinary just from what we're seeing right now. And I think this is very, very budget friendly as well, just because a lot of these are getting reprinted as well. Ash is getting reprinted in the Mega Tens, I think going for like $10 right now. Nibiru, the Secret Rare, was already like a $10 to $12 card, so you can definitely pick up less expensive copies. Effective Baylor's a few cents. DD Crow, they have rare copies as well, not expensive at all. The Imperms, I think they're like between 8s and 10s right now, so it does sound like quite a bit when you add it all up, but compared to how much these cards used to be worth, I think that this is, I mean, the Megatons are going to be absolutely insane for reprints, and I'm so excited for when they actually come out. I already pre-ordered my Prosperities. I'm considering buying a case and opening it up on the channel. Maybe we'll do a live stream, but if you guys want to see it, let me know in the comment section down below. But that's a that's a pricey decision to make. We're not that big just yet, but yeah, this is gonna be the hand trap lineup that I played, guys. I did not want to play Ghost Ogre. I see a lot of people playing Ghost Ogre. I actually wanted to go ahead and put DD Crow instead. I think DD Crow is one of the most high impact hand traps in the entire game. Every time I go over a deck before, I feel like I mentioned this, but if you're not playing DD Crow in your deck, I think you're bugging. If you're going for a hand trap build, that is, I think it would go DD Crow and then possibly Nibiru. Just because even if you're going against the Tearlament deck, I know they said like, oh, if they're sent to the graveyard by a card effect, whatever it might be. But realistically, at the end of their turn, once they've already summoned everything, so Tearlament doesn't really set up many negations, if any. So if you just Nibiru at the very end of their turn, you're sending everything away, and they're not really going to be getting much effects because they've already activated all their effects, or they probably have just fusion summoning on their turn, things like that. So if you nib towards the end of their turn, you should be just fine. Just make sure they don't set up a negate before, because then obviously, you know, kind of defeats the purpose. Of course, Ash for any type of branded Despia deck, which is still really popular. DD Crow hits everything, Valor, Imperm hit everything, so and that's why I actually, like I said before, what I love about the Runick build is that you're able to just draw into so much of these. I remember my second game is actually, I actually went undefeated. I only had one draw, and it was against the Sprite Mirror. We went to game 3. But game 1 was just a grindy game, and what I just kept, and it was only a grind because I kept skipping my own battle phase with the with the Runick cards, which was really funny. But every time I would I'd activate the Runick tip, search, activate another Runick, search, go the effect, activate Runick Fountain, shuffle back, draw 2, draw 3. So I was constantly drawing into hand traps, so there's very minimal effort as far as my main board to actually for my opponent, but it makes up for some really fun interactions. Game 2, he just slapped me up real quick, and game 3 was a really cool interaction. Actually, one of the most fun games I've had in a while. Very educational match. It's one of those matches you just look back and you're like, I really am glad that I had that experience, because it helps you learn your deck so much more. So I think his name is Gio. So Gio, if you're watching this, by any means, I know he has his own YouTube channel as well. So quick shout out to you, bud. A great match again. So let's go ahead and get into the spells. Alright, so for the spells, guys, nothing crazy. We play the 3 Sprite Starter, 1 Smashers. Pretty standard, not really gonna go over that. I'm gonna go over it just a little bit. So I have seen people play double Sprite Smashers. I have not missed the Sprite Smashers yet, only because Runick's actually, let me go ahead and go into the Runick cards before I explain this. So let me go ahead and leave this right here. I'm gonna leave this right here for you guys. Okay. Hopefully it does not get cut by the shot. Should not. Okay. So Runick cards: 1 Runick Fountain, 3 Runick Tip, 3 Runick Freezing Curses, double Runick Destruction, and 1 Flashing Fire. So I know anyone who is watching right now is like, why are you not playing 3 Flashing Fire? Such a good card. You get to destroy. Yeah, you get to do all those things, but that's not the main point of this deck. So all the Runick cards initially they're used because they're extenders. Just because you're able to get this level 2 on board, the Huggin. You get the Huggin on board as your level 2, and then you go off from there, which is nice and all, but they're really just meant to give you a little bit more consistency, and there's really all they're there for. As far as the interruptions are concerned, it is nice benefit to have, but that's also why you had the hand traps. The only other way that you're going to be maximizing this is in the event that you are able to get the fountain off and then, you know, go through everything. That's a really high ceiling for the overall deck. Is it something you're going to be doing every single time? Most likely not. I want to say maybe half the games you're able to actually see your runic cards and go off with your plays. I mean, a lot of times I would just go ahead and doing basic sprite plays and then just had hand traps to back up, but the few times I was able to go ahead and support it with runics, it just took the deck to the next level. So in the event, I am considering potentially bringing taking out potentially Valor and putting in one more Runick Destruction as well as another Flashing Fire, but I thought this was okay for the time being. But I did want to play 2 Runick Destruction in 1 Flashing Fire just because in the event that I'm going up against a tier element deck or anything like that, I just feel like destroying a monster on the field, especially if it has to be a special summon monster, is just not as effective. This essentially is also a dead card against like a Fluandree's deck, things like that. So that's why I just didn't want to take the chance on that. And I highly respect back row more in this current format, and I value popping back row more with Mystic Mind being around, with Floodgates being around, than I do destroying an opponent's monster. They're getting its effect, and I can get rid of it next turn. I can worry about it next turn. But that was the initial thought going into this, guys. And honestly, I think this performed very well. Like I said, I will potentially try to test out with 3 Flashing Fire and 3 Destruction and take out the Effect Veiler. But that's something I'm gonna have to do work on in testing potentially for a future tournaments, things like that. But overall, I think the deck performed really well. I only bricked once with the deck, and my brick was like double nib Ash Valor Crow. So it wasn't that bad, you know. But overall, I really enjoyed the way the deck played out. It's, like I said, a 40 card main deck, guys. Now let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. Alright, so for the extra deck, guys, we play 1 Hugin, the Runick Wings, 1 Gary, the Runick Fangs. So I see a lot of people also playing double Hugin, which is cool. I mean, it does give you the more grindability to be able to summon more Huggins down the line, which is, again, nice. Hugin does have the effect where it's destroyed, sent to the field. When if this card on the field is destroyed by battle card effect, you can return it back to the extra deck, which is, again, nice if you're going to be using her as a defense piece. You know, to make sure you search your fountain, things like that. But Gary is cool because you're able to go ahead and get your fountain from the graveyard in the event it ever gets destroyed, which I think having that recursion and being able to rely a little bit more on your runic cards is hugely beneficial, because in the event that you already have your fountain out on that you've already activated your fountain once during the duel, it means your runic engine is already up and running. I mean, you already got it going, you're already drawing stuff, things like that. And in the event it gets popped, I just want to make sure I'm able to go ahead and get it back. Plus Gary, again, 1000 defense, you know, it'll hold up a little bit. Next, double gigantic sprites, 1 totally awesome, 1 Sky Cavalry Centuria, 1 Soul Sweeper, and then 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Really no need to explain these. I think it's pretty standard for the most part. This never went into Soul Sweeper, but I understand the benefits of it. And I realistically, like having a double board wipe Zeus is cool. But I don't think it's essential to winning, so that's why I don't have the Downer Magician. That's why I want to try out the Soul Sweeper. But if you want to put in Downer Magician instead of Soul Sweeper, by all means go for it. It's again, it's a card I never really got to see in this tournament, but I mean, I do see the overall benefit of having him. But that's gonna be it for the Fusions Xyz. Now on to the links. We played 3 copies of Spright Elf. In the grind game, you are really going to miss the 3rd one. So if you're playing 2, I just don't think that's correct, unfortunately, for Spright. If you're playing a Spright version, of course, if you're playing like a tier element version, you just need the 1. You're gonna be fine from there. But I think if you're gonna play Spright, whether it's Life Twin, whether it's Runick, whether it's Melfi, whatever it is, you are gonna want to maximize your Spright Elves, in my opinion. 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Dark, and 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. So that's going to be it for the extra deck, guys. Funny enough, I wanted to go ahead and play the Water Charmer, but I decided to go ahead and put in the Nightmare Service just in case. And it actually came in super clutch, because I made some very large Nibiru tokens Like I'm talking 6,000, I think almost 7,000 attack and defense. So that was concerning, and I didn't know how to get over it. And I was like, oh wait, I have Nightmare Service, cool. So that was a really cool interaction as well. I think there was one moment where I actually had this co-linked as well, so, under Appaloosa, I believe. So I was able to go ahead and draw a card as well. So actually really fun interactions as well. I might mess around and still see if I can get the water charmer in here, since I didn't really go into into IP at all. But I think Nightmare Service is really funny and kind of clutch actually in a lot of spaces. So if you are going to be playing Nibiru, just make sure you're able to find a way to get over it, especially if you're going to be making it around 6,000-7,000 attack and defense. But that's going to be it for the extra deck, guys. I'll show you guys the side deck as well. I think it's actually pretty similar, if not the exact same one that I showed you guys in my previous deck profile, but I'll go ahead and go over it nonetheless. So I played 3 Mystic Mine, 3 Regeki, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Fed Duster, 1 Terraforming, 1 Red Reboot, and then 3 Solemn Judgment. So again, I have to respect the back row. Any Eldritch decks, any Mystic Mine decks, I have to respect the back row. I don't have Lightning Storms, or else they would take place of the Regeki immediately. And I wanted to go ahead and find a fun way to search Mystic Mine. I did not want to play Demise of the Land, just because that would be taking the deck a little bit too far to the left into the pure Runick or Runick deck out deck, which you technically could do. I mean, you technically do have the power to just side out all your Spright cards and go straight into a Mystic Mine Runick deck out deck, which actually sounds pretty intriguing, and I might try out. But I just wanted to go ahead and play this in the event that my opponents made it a wild unbreakable board. I just needed a way to go ahead and get around it. I know there's one guy at the locals who pretty much gets an auto win synchro monster. I always forget the name of it, but if I find it, I'll put it up here somewhere. Like some, skips your turn, you can't activate any cards, and that was actually so crazy. So I don't know, slapping Mystic Mine on it might help, but we'll see about that. So that's gonna be it for the deck profile, guys. 40 card main deck, 15 card side deck, of course, and 15 card extra deck. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. But honestly, it was a lot of fun participating in this event. Anytime I go to Here's Hideout, it's just a good time. Everyone there is super chill, just willing to have fun with the game. There's no like hard feelings, things like that, which I feel like that can happen sometimes when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, side note that. So if you guys did enjoy, go ahead and leave a like down below. I really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you guys did stick around this long, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.